I recently began working on a project that involves adding to and modifying an existing platform. And although that doesn't seem all that exciting, it's a new situation for me because the existing platform I'm working with is one that I've recently modeled, and that's what you're seeing here. This has been detailed, fabricated, and installed, and now we're adding on to it and making a few modifications. This was originally modeled in version 21, and I've just brought it into 2016, which is what I'll be working with. Now, a lot of the projects I work on involve adding to or connecting to existing structures to some degree, and this can present some challenges, especially if you have limited information about the existing structure. This one is unique because I have all of the information about the existing structure because I modeled it. This may pose a few of its own problems and challenges as I get into it, but I'll work those out as I go. I have a general idea on how I want to handle this, but as I've said, this is a new situation for me, so there may be a fair bit where I'll just have to wing it. The general plan is to model in the new members, then convert the existing platform into actual existing members, and then start working on the drawings. So with all of that, let's get started. Before I start modeling the new members, I want to set up my phases, which is found under Manage, then Phases. I normally separate out all the different member types and conditions just to keep things organized. This also makes it easy to select all of the parts on those phases. Simply select the phase, then click on Objects by Phase to select those parts in the model. You can also select multiple phases by holding down the Control key. This will help out when it comes time to convert the members on these phases into existing, which will be done later. The phases I have set up here are based on the original platform model. As you can see, it also had an existing platform. So to keep things separate and somewhat organized for now, I'll add existing to these layers here. Now that that's done, I'll add a new phase, which will be number 200. And I'll call it New Framing. Okay. Now we're ready to start modeling. To begin, I want to set my work plane to the upper platform top of steel. To do that, I click on View, the work plane drop down, parallel to view plane, and then give a point in my view. Now I'm ready to model, and I'll start by copying this column. Then I select it and open Phase Manager and click on 200 New Framing and then Modify Phase. I also want to ensure that 200 New Framing is my current phase. Now for the beams. Select Steel, double click on Beam. I want Channel, and that all looks good. So click Apply and OK. To make sure I'm on the proper level, I want to hold down the Control key and click on a point at the level that I want. And this is easier to see in the 3D view. So I want the top of steel here. So I hold down the Control key and I give a point. And this isn't an actual point, it's a control point. So now I will go back to my plan and start drawing in my new framing. Give a start point here and here. There to there. Okay. And then I want to also hold down the control key at the top of this member to give a control point. Come back to my plan, make sure that I'm perpendicular, give a point, and then an end point. And back on my plan, and give a control point here, and then make sure that we're perpendicular, and type in 3'2", and make sure we're perpendicular again, give a point there. Then I have another point from here to here. Okay. That takes care of the framing for now. I'll model the connections in a little while, but before that I want to move the existing ladder to its new position. We'll do that next. To start, I want to draw a couple of construction lines. So the first one will be from the center of this rung perpendicular to the back of this framing member. And the other will be, I'm going to give a control click here and go perpendicular 1'8", give a point there, and then perpendicular point here. Now that I have those, I'll use the move to another plane command to actually move and rotate the ladder. This is a command I use a lot, and I found it to be very useful. You'll see me use it again when I model the railing. I want to pick the entire ladder, so I will come down here and activate the Select Assemblies switch and select the ladder. And then I want to make sure I pick up the bolts. And then down here under the existing grating we have a couple of washer plates and some bolts, so I want to hold down the shift key and then just window this in to select all of those. Now with everything selected, I want to right mouse click, select Move Special, and to another plane. And for the origin, I'm going to select the intersection here and then a point along the back of this member perpendicular for my X, and then for the Y I'll give a point out here. Now I want to rotate this ladder 90 degrees clockwise over to this position. So I'm going to give a point here for my destination, and then the X is going to be perpendicular along the back of this member, and then the Y will be out here. And just like that, not only has the ladder been moved, it's also rotated. So let's check this out. You can see we clear here. That looks pretty good. And it looks like here we have a conflict with the bottom flange of this channel. Yeah, with the bottom flange of this channel, so that's easily taken care of. We'll just notch out the bottom flange of this channel to miss that slat there. So this is one of the nice things I like about BIM modeling. You can easily see the conflicts like this one. So we'll get that fixed. So that does it for moving the ladder. Next, let's work on the framing connections. We'll start by modeling in this corner right here, which is right here. I want to bring these two channels together. So I'm going to move this endpoint out a piece, then move this endpoint to contact it, and then move this like so to give us a nice neat corner. Now I want to take these two channels and make an assembly out of them. So I'm going to select this channel, right mouse click, assembly, and add to assembly. And then I'm going to select this piece as my assembly to add to. And that gives us this being one assembly. You can check that by assembled objects, and it shows you that the orange is the main piece and all the yellow pieces are subassemblies of that. So now I want to create a section through here so I can bolt this channel through this column. So I go to View, and then New View drop down, and then hold the Shift key down and select using 2 points. And this is a standard setup that I have for temporary sections of this nature. So I'm already set up for that. So then I hit Apply, OK. I go back to here, my plan view, and I give a point here, and then straight over, making sure that I'm perpendicular, and give a point there. That opens up our temporary section here. You can then zoom in, and this is what I want to bolt. So before I set the bolt up, I need to set my work plane. So I select work plane drop down, parallel to view plane, and then I select my temporary section. And you can see that sets my work plane up in this view. I then go to steel, and then I shift click on bolts, and it opens up my bolt properties. And everything looks good. Except for this. I'm going to change this to show you. This is normally set by default to 4 inches. And I do want my bolt X distance to be 2 inches. So we hit Apply and OK. And then the part that I want to bolt to is the column. So I select the column, and then I select my channel as the part to be bolted, and then middle click to end that. I can then select the top part of my column here. I want to give my points now, so I hold down the control key to give a control point here, then a control point straight up at the top of my channel. Then I release the control key and I give my first point, making sure my ortho is on and I'm heading straight down, 2 inches, and then another one 2 inches. And these look good here. But when you look at the plan, you can see that they don't go all the way through, and I need these bolts to go all the way through the column. So in order to do that, you double click to bring up the bolt properties, and this was originally set for 8. It's normally set for 4, but you want to change your cut length to be at least twice the distance as to what you want your bolt length to be, or approximately what you want your bolt length to be. So for this, I'm going to set it for 8 inches. I click Modify, and you can see that I've got the proper bolt in there. Click Apply and OK. Now while we're on this end, or we're on this view here, I want to go to the other end, and I want to connect this channel to this column in the same fashion. But what I want to do first is I want to move my column, or I'm sorry, move the end of my beam. So I select the point, click on Move, and then select a point here, then give a control point at the back of this channel, and then come out perpendicular 1/2 inch. Now I can come to the other end, select my bolts, right mouse click, copy, and we can give the top point of this column over to top point of that column. And to verify that everything is okay, we can go to View, or I'm sorry, Edit, Measure, Bolt Spacing. We can select these bolts in this channel. We can see we're 1 inch away, we're 2, 2, and 2, so we should be fine. Next, we'll draw the connection at the end of this channel here, which is right in this corner. I've already set up a temporary section and the work plane, so we'll pick up the end of this channel, our new channel, and we're going to move it back ½ inch. And we're going to go to steel. We're going to hold down the shift and click beam, and we're going to select plate. Change this to 100. I want to change my name here to connection plate, and it will be a 3/8 inch plate by 4 inch, and we'll give it a class of 3. Apply and OK. So I'm going to give a control point at the midpoint of the end of my beam. So a control point. Then we're going to go over with our ortho on. We're going to go over 2½ inches. We're going to give the starting point there. Then we're going to go to where our column is behind here, which is here. We're going to go to the edge of that. We're going to give another control point. Then we're going to go in 1.5 inches and then give another control point. And then we're going to go from there 1.25 inches and give our final point at the end. And that shows our plate in there. So we double click that, change the position to be front, modify that. Now that's on the front of our pieces where it should be. So now we come in here and we select shift bolt. I want the bolt distance, X distance, to be 2 inches. So we say apply and OK. And we're going to connect the channel to that plate, and then we give a middle click. And for our first position, we're going to give a control point at the midpoint of the plate at the end here. Control point, we're going to come in 1.25 inches and give another control point. We're going to go straight up with our ortho on 1 inch and give the first point. And we're going to come down 2 inches with our ortho on perpendicular and give another point. And that gives us our bolts. And we're going to take these, we're going to select these, and then we're going to copy that from the middle point of the bolt. We're going to go over and give a control point from the edge of our plate, straight over, perpendicular. And then we're going to give another point with our ortho on perpendicular to the right, 1.25 inches. Now these bolts are going to be the same as the bolts we put in before, which is, as you can see, they don't go all the way through. But before we adjust those, we need to make sure that they're attached to the column. So we select the bolts, right mouse click, and click on bolt parts. And it'll highlight the parts that are all connected here. So I want to select, we still want it to attach to the channel. And then we click on the plate. And then now we also click on the column. And then we middle click, and you can see the bolt adjusted to the column now. Now we can double click on that, change our cut length as we've done before to 8 inches, select modify and OK, and now our bolt goes all the way through, and now this connection is complete. The last connection that I want to show is a simple one. It's just where I have new C6s connecting to new C6s on the new part of the platform here. So it's a simple standard component 141 component clip angle. This is a standard connection for me. So you select the the two members, and it's just a single clip angle on either side. These are C6s, so there's a single bolt on each side, and I just pop these on here just like this, and one more over here. And then I usually afterwards I will select all of my connection components. I don't usually leave connection components in my model, so I will explode these, and then that just alleviates any problems down the road. This video is getting a little long, so I'll end it here. In the next video, I'll do the railing and grading as well as start on the drawings, and I'll leave a link to that in the video's description below. As always, thanks for watching. I hope it was informative. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to this channel. And if you know someone who might find this video interesting, please feel free to share it with them. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next video.